Well, hello everyone. Ogre27 Kane here today, and we're going to do a review of Little Nightmares 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Let's do a brief overview and figure out what this game is all about. So this is a wonderful action platformer horror/puzzle game brought to us by Tarsier Studios and Bandai Namco. It's got a great aesthetic, a wonderful art scheme to it, a really cool ambient soundtrack, and an air of just mystery all about it. The game is a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it with my special guest today, Froggo14.
Hello everybody, it's Froggo14.
And she's just as excited as I am as she watched me play through the whole game. Let's start with gameplay. So the gameplay in this is an action platformer, but the horror and puzzle elements are the majority of what you'll find. It starts off very slow, teaching you all the buttons and controls and setting the atmosphere and the mood, but as you begin playing through the game, it gets more and more complex, and the puzzles get more and more dire. As you can see here, we're in Act 2 basically, as Act 1 is mainly just teaching you those things. But by this point, the game really takes off and really sets the atmosphere. The characters that you play as is a little kid and their friend, and you're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. It's essentially a nightmare occurring in one of their heads, and you need to figure out why. Another really cool feature to the gameplay is how it essentially takes place from one scene to the next almost seamlessly, yet they're all completely different and deal with different enemies, different characters, bosses, different things chasing you, different combat mechanics, and most importantly, different ambient audio. It really sets a precedent for what this game was trying to accomplish, and I truly loved this game. I thought it was a little fun. What did you think of it, Froggo?
I found it very tense, intriguing, and it made me kind of apprehensive.
I will agree with that, and I must say stressful, because this game stressed me out a lot. There's a lot of scenes that really have you on the edge of your seat. So let's go ahead and hit the next category, the story. So the story in this game is really confusing, as each different chapter or act are very different from each other and have you doing different things. I don't want to say that it has a very conclusive story or a very direct story, but all the pieces kind of fit together and you begin to understand what's going on. This poor kid has a lot of things going on and they're very stressed out, if you will. There's a lot of demons that they're dealing with in their life and whatever's happening outside of it. Each story element is put together in a way that really makes you want to see the next place, but they're so different from each other that there's not really a direct line to go through. One of the really cool things about the story is that you feel the kid's emotion as they're playing it. You feel their stress as you're playing it. And you understand that all of these characters are probably something involved in this kid's life at some point or something that's really got them up in arms. Did you enjoy the story, Froggo?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
Let's do the controls and audio now. So first up, we're going to start with the audio. And I think the audio in this game is absolutely fantastic. The ambient feel you get to everything, the way all the sounds mesh in and out of the world, and there's no real direct music outside of that line. It really does throw you off, and we're going to show a little bit of it right here. So that's probably the closest you're going to get to a song in this, as there are no direct soundtracks. Let's talk about the controls now, and the controls in this game are a little bit confusing. They were difficult at first and took a while to understand. Your ZR button is essentially an action button, your B button is a jump button, and your Y is a sprint button. You'll also need ZL to duck and hide behind things, and it is really dependent on your movement in the environments. It's almost a 2.5 type D plane. It is full three-dimensional, but the way it reacts to everything can be a little confusing and it really messes with your depth perception. So let's go ahead and move on to graphics and animations now. So in terms of the graphic and animation quality, the game really looks absolutely stunning, and they did a great job with all the character models. It almost has like a claymation type feel to it, and everything looks really good and smooth. All of the frame rate is very consistent. And the game doesn't have any performance issues whatsoever. I truly enjoyed every aspect of this. What did you think, Froggo?
I really like the art style and how the kids appear smaller than the adults, due to the fact that it's probably symbolizing how in the real world adults seem like they have all the authority.
The characters are definitely mismatched in size, but I agree with Froggo on that. There's definitely a lot of symbolism based in the art. And on top of that, it's got a very dark and drab feel to it. You feel the horror in every area and every element that you go into. The characters look great, and all the enemies look great. But I do have to say, it will freak you out from time to time, especially how uncanny a lot of the world feels. So let's go ahead and hit combat now. So the combat in this game is pretty unique. It's very much puzzle and element based. You don't have any direct weapons that you carry around or any attack buttons or anything, but rather you'll be using different weapons and tools throughout the environments themselves. Sometimes you'll have a giant pipe, sometimes you'll have a big hammer, sometimes you'll be dropping things on enemies, and it's all completely based on solving the puzzle of the area in the room around you. No real direct combat, but I'm okay with that because this game really truly doesn't need it. It gives you that sense of weakness, that sense of loss, that sense of not being able to take care of every situation. You can't fight your way through nearly anything on this game, and a lot of it is based on you just running and figuring it out. I absolutely love this, but be forewarned, there isn't a ton of combat in this game. It is very light, and it's very haphazard, if you will. The other element to combat is sometimes you'll receive assistance when you don't expect it. As you see here, your little helper takes care of this guy, and you didn't even need to use the hammer. So let's go ahead and jump into conclusion now. So Froggo, we're going to start out with your conclusion. What did you think?
I think it's a very fun and interesting game, and if you're into horror games like this, I think you should definitely check it out.
I'm inclined to agree. This is definitely the best $20 I think I've spent in a long time, and it's not really what I expected. In conclusion, this is a must-buy and a must-play game, especially if you're a fan of horror or if you're really into things like Tim Burton films. Would you agree with that?
Definitely.
I definitely feel the vibe and the art style and all the atmosphere. This is definitely worth your time and your money, and it's a great game. I truly believe you'll enjoy it if you can get over the control issues, but outside of that,
Froggo14 says bye.
and thank you for watching this video. It was a blast to make. I upload every single Monday. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre27 Kane and
Froggo14
signing out.